It's June 13. It's a very dark day right now in crypto. It's very, very brutal in the markets. The markets are down considerably. Will they go lower or will we bounce up? Let's go over this. Stay to the end. A lot of researchers in this. Pretty sure our analysis is correct. There have been some massive losers here. The ones that pumped the most, such as S&P, SPX 6900 and Fartcoin, they're down significantly. Celestia, etc. But Bitcoin has broken down a bit. ETH was down over 8%. Solana's down 9%. And you can have a look here. Bitcoin at one stage, it dropped from like 108,000 down to 103,000. So pretty brutal. This all came because Israel has launched Operation Rising Lion to target Iran. As soon as this came at 2:47 a.m. UTC +1, this meant markets just really, really dipped. A TLDR is targeting Iran's nuclear military sites, have killed a head figure, and a few other things. Oil prices have risen over $3 per barrel, so which is 6%. And this apparently is due to just supply disruptions. A lot of this is just manufactured in terms of like there's still enough supply, but just how it is. Now, the US is getting involved in some sense. This is going to divide a whole lot of people. We're not here to talk about the politics. We're here to talk about what's going on with Bitcoin and our altcoins and not the actual politics. Because I know not a lot of people like that. And I don't even really like to talk about it. I just want to know what's happening with our bags. At the same time, you know, the least amount of casualties in the world would be preference. Just humans are tribal. And this is what happens when there's a conflict of ideologies. So this is what they've said. Let me be clear. Iran should not target US interests or personnel, meaning Israel is a US interest. A huge amount was liquidated from the crypto market in the last 60 minutes, and we'll go over that in a second. It was primarily longs. Now, Michael Pacino says that when you have such a massive amount of shorts going on one way, market makers will seek to balance it out, so it's more 50-50. But some shorts were liquidated, but look, $1 billion in longs just wiped out. So we can have a look here. We can see, like, we're probably going to come up a little bit, and we're going to go over this a little bit more. This could be a spot buying opportunity for you as well. There's more to be liquidated here, and I know that people have requested for like a video on how this all works, and it's hard to research. So we'll put time into it, but it'll take us a few weeks. You can go and have a look at all of your favorite exchanges on Glassnode, Bybit, BTC, same deal. You're probably going to see this with everything because there's a lot more shorting pressure, but at the same time, there's a lot more shorting power, and that's probably what's going to push it down. But ideally, they're going to try and reclaim that. This, not so much. Sol seems a little bit more equal, to be perfectly honest. So if we have a look here, like my TA dude, Tyler, who's in charge of all this research, and he's doing a good job. We are certainly far more right than wrong, like really, really far more right. And we're following the M2 thesis, and like maybe it's just blind luck, but it just fell perfectly. And we're expecting a recovery as well. Like this is a little bit voodoo-y, like what has been mentioned by Raoul Paul. And if we have a look at yesterday's video when we mentioned, here's our first line of support. If we break this, we break this. We bounced off this briefly and then didn't hold it. And then we bounced off this and we've held it. And I am expecting a jump up, but it's not a leverage day, to be honest. When we have a look at the fibs here, which is really important, we can see we lost the 0.5 and we're just holding on to the 0.618. But even here, we kind of bounce off 0.786. So Bitcoin still looks healthy, especially if it holds this. It will remain, this will be a low and this will be a higher low, which is what we want to see for an uptrend. Having a look here, this shows, I believe, all the times there's been like conflict between Iran and Israel, and there's always been a dip. This is like magical. Dip, recovery, dip, recovery, dip, recovery, dip, recovery, dip, recovery, dip. I think you can guess what's going to come next. Nothing's financial advice, but recovery is kind of what we're leaning towards, to be perfectly honest. Same thing happened with the S&P 500. Dip, 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 recovery, dip, recovery, dip, recovery. This was all caused by, like, I think tariff news. It was only 2 months ago, and so much happens in crypto, it's hard to keep up with everything. But I believe tariffs was what caused this, and massive recovery. We were 2% from the all-time high, and now we've dropped, I think, at 1.5%, although S&P 500 is not open. So we can see this with the futures. We're down, but I think we're recovering, like, even right now, if you have a look at the markets. We have to see how it opens, though. And just keep in mind, it all just comes back to it all just follows M2 so well. I don't understand how it does this. It's not like perfect, but it's really pretty accurate. And I have the thesis that we can't come up closer. So right now, even the price is changing. But one thing we wanted to point out quickly is like volume is low. Volume here, high, and it's actually been dropping down. So this is, I think, market makers just pushing, like removing their orders and just pushing down the market as well. This is really important. We'll keep on mentioning the market cap dominance of USDT. It's pinged right up. We don't want that to happen. We want it to come on down, but this is what we're expecting to happen when Bitcoin price falls. And this is like, you could say this is a bit of a kind of a level of support. So we're hoping we just flick on back from here. Otherwise, it could get worse, of course, but this is a little bit of a level. Now, when we have a look at ETH, like there is a whole lot of hope that I think we just move right on up all the way over here. This is like, over the next 6 weeks or something like that. And we were aiming to hold the 0.5, because what we could see is like, if we draw a line here and we draw a line here, we just touched, and then we broke out, touched, and we're expecting this move up. And this would be, in my opinion, a good time to get some ETH, flick into put some USDC and ETH into Meteor, and just have downside and upside. And that's going to generate a small amount of fees, but mostly price appreciation if you don't want to actively trade, which I get. Solana's doing okay as well. If we're taking the fib here, we're holding the 0.5. Remember, when we're talking about these things, the fib does work magically for some amazing voodoo reason. If you want to accumulate more, what I'm doing, and you can do whatever you like, what I'm doing is set an order here, set an order here, set an order here, set an order here. Once these become invalidated and like the unfilled, if that's the case, then that's fine. I'll cancel the orders when there's a new fib. But this is holding right now, so I would buy a little bit here, a little bit more, a little bit more. And if we kind of bounce off and have this recovery like we're essentially expecting with June 18, June 19, then I just cancel and get my USDC back. This here is hyper liquid. It has, I think it's already bounced up more than this, to be perfectly honest. Like these charts are done in the morning, and then obviously it's a very dynamic thing. So we're showing it at the 0.5 and it's already back up to $40. But once again, like if you're setting your orders at these prices to buy spot and to buy spot and to buy spot, if they don't get filled, you can cancel them as soon as it's invalidated, it's back into a upwards trend or whatnot. But already you would have made a small amount of money just by setting at the 0.5 fib. Next thing is Fartcoin, which like these go up the most, but they also can come down the most. Didn't hold 0.5 and it's kind of sticking onto here. We could come in a little bit lower, but I'm expecting a bit of a zoom up as well. Now, just a reminder on Katoshi's settings here, because it works like really like magic, but you have to be watching it, and I haven't set up a way to ping anything yet. You'd go green here, you would have entered here on the long, you could have taken profits at any stage. You don't necessarily wait for a cross, because that would have meant you've been not so far up. But then at the same time, when it goes red, this is what I'm looking at. Red candle, red candle. If you could have entered here like last night, perfect, down we go. And you would have maybe entered around here because you've seen one red candle close and then we've come on down. But at the same time, we're coming into this huge band of like, here's our support down here, and we just have to be mindful that like we have resistance here, which is why like if you did short it, we didn't short it because we missed this, and at this stage we're like, okay, there's the risk to reward is not worth it. So if you entered here, you could have shorted, but you need to be aware that like when you're so close to support, you've got to be a little bit more mindful. Just a reminder, we've got stuff happening today, but more so we're really interested in what's happening next week. Even though we're not going to get changes, it's going to add some confirmation to the markets. I think we move up. Just a simple reminder here, $100,000 seemed impossible weeks ago. This is the nature of crypto. It's like high dopamine release, which is why it's so addictive. But at the same time, just zoom out, spot and chill. If you don't want to do leverage, then things zoom out, spot and chill. Now, back onto some Solana news. TLDR, I'm confident the market's going to recover, just like we've seen in the past. Things can escalate. It's not necessarily time to leverage up, leverage down. You've got to be very mindful that market makers are better than you, better than me. They're the world-class traders and they make a whole lot of bank. But we have some actual crypto news here. And if you hold, this relates to Metaplex and just how DAO systems don't really work very well at present. Basically, there's a huge amount of SOL, 50,000 SOL, and none of the proposals have passed yet. And this one's probably actually going to win. But TLDR, if you have any of the governance token, go and vote like no, because what they're basically saying is let's put all the SOL into the liquidity pool for deeper liquidity, which does nothing for the ecosystem. Now, Coinbase partners have partnered with American Express to launch Coinbase One Card, offering up to 4% Bitcoin back on all purchases. I imagine, this is cool. Big fan of Cast. Remember, with Cast, you're actually getting like 10% rewards in future tokens, which could or could not have value. I'm pretty keen with it. It's a debit card, not a credit card. I don't even know if this is available worldwide, but it's pretty cool, to be perfectly honest, except Amex is just not accepted everywhere. It's like a pretty extractive credit card. And Amani's one of the kind of Solana goats, to be perfectly honest. And there's a lot to hate about Coinbase, but they do push crypto mainstream, even if they're a little bit slower. So well done to them. Claimosaurs, Popkins Legendary packs can be now traded on secondary. You can see it here. Took a little bit of time for that to happen for whatever reason, but if you're keen to collect some, get amongst it. And yesterday, when I was busy doing in real life stuff, basically the internet kind of went down. Discord was down, Google Cloud was down, YouTube is down, and this all relates to like AWS and I don't know what else. Telegram was safe, and Tully pointed this out. We made it impossible to run a Solana validator in the cloud for a reason, which is perfect. Remember, we will run a Solana validator, validator.com, stake your soul with us. It's the smart thing to do. The final thing, unfortunately, is Soul Sniper is shutting down the NFT aggregator. They moved into like tokens. Unsure what they're going to be doing now. I think it's going to be all sort of closing down. But if you have NFTs listed there or anything like that, just keep an eye on that. Make sure the bids are being removed and whatnot for anyone that it affects. Can't find product market fit in every single cycle. The dynamics always change. So that's my viewpoints, the other team's viewpoints that we have. Nothing, of course, is financial advice. We think we see a bit of a recovery. This could be definitely a buy the dip opportunity. What are your thoughts? Let us know below. Thanks for watching. Cheers.